The small maintenance bay on Station Gamma 7 hummed with the usual sounds of welding torches and hydraulic lifts. Jake wiped grease from his hands as he heard the distinctive whine of damaged thrusters approaching the docking bay. Through the reinforced viewport, he watched a sleek vessel limp toward the station, trailing sparks from its port engine. The ship was unlike anything in the standard registry. Its hull bore the elegant curves typical of Viridian design, but the damage was extensive. Scorch marks ran along the silver plating and one of the main stabilizers hung at an odd angle. Jake had seen plenty of battle damage in his 15 years as a station mechanic, but this looked like the ship had barely escaped complete destruction. The docking clamps engaged with a metallic thud, and Jake made his way to the airlock. The ship's hatch cycled open with a soft hiss, releasing a cloud of acrid smoke. A figure emerged, coughing and stumbling slightly as she stepped onto the station deck. She was clearly Viridian, with the characteristic pale blue skin and silver hair that marked her species. Her clothing, once elegant, was now torn and stained. What caught Jake's attention, however, was the determination in her violet eyes despite her obvious exhaustion. "Please," she said in accented standard, "my ship needs immediate repair. I can pay whatever you ask." Jake nodded toward the damaged vessel. "What happened out there?" "Pirates," she replied simply. "They destroyed my escort and nearly caught me. I managed to jump to hyperspace, but the engines took heavy damage." "Let me take a look," Jake said, already reaching for his diagnostic scanner. "Name's Jake, by the way." "Lyra," she responded, following him toward the ship's engine compartment. The damage was worse than Jake had initially thought. The main fusion reactor was operating at barely 30% efficiency, and the hyperdrive motivator had been completely fried. Several key components would need to be fabricated from scratch, and the work would take at least 3 days. "I have to be honest with you, Lyra," Jake said after completing his assessment. "This is going to be expensive and time-consuming. Most mechanics would recommend scrapping the ship and buying a new one." Lyra's shoulders sagged. "This ship belonged to my grandmother. It's all I have left of my family." Something in her voice made Jake pause. He had seen desperation before, but there was a dignity in her sadness that touched him. "Tell you what, I'll do the work for parts cost only. No labor charges." Her eyes widened. "Why would you do that?" Jake shrugged. "Because everyone deserves a second chance and family heirlooms shouldn't end up in a scrapyard." Over the next 3 days, Jake worked tirelessly on the ship. Lyra stayed close, asking questions and learning about human engineering techniques. She was surprised by Jake's methodical approach and his willingness to explain every procedure. "Human engineering is different from ours," she observed on the second day as Jake rewired the power distribution network. "You build things to be repaired, not replaced." "Makes sense to us," Jake replied, carefully soldering a connection. "Resources are precious. Better to fix something than throw it away." "My people would simply install a new component," Lyra admitted. "We rarely attempt repairs. Sometimes the old ways are better," Jake said with a smile. "Your grandmother's ship has good bones. With proper maintenance, it could run for another century." On the third morning, Jake made the final adjustments to the hyperdrive. The engines hummed with renewed power, and all diagnostic readings showed green across the board. The ship was not only repaired but running better than it had in years. "I don't know how to thank you," Lyra said as they stood beside the fully restored vessel. "Just take care of her," Jake replied, "and maybe think twice before flying through pirate territory alone." Lyra smiled and reached into a small pouch at her belt. She withdrew what appeared to be a simple metal cylinder, no longer than Jake's thumb. "This is a quantum resonance key," she explained. "It contains the complete technical specifications for Viridian faster-than-light communication technology." Jake's eyes widened. Faster-than-light communication had been theoretical for humans. Such technology would revolutionize space travel and exploration. "I can't accept this," he said. "It's too valuable." "You gave me back my grandmother's memory," Lyra replied firmly. "This gift comes with no strings attached. Use it to help your people, as you helped me." She paused at the ship's entrance. "There's something else you should know, Jake. I'm not just any Viridian. I'm the daughter of our High Council's chief science officer. When I tell my people about human integrity and craftsmanship, they will listen." The implications of her words settled over Jake like a warm blanket. First contact between humans and the Viridian Empire had been limited and formal. This personal connection could change everything. "Will I see you again?" Jake asked. "Perhaps," Lyra said with a mysterious smile. "The galaxy is smaller than most people think." As her ship lifted gracefully from the docking bay, Jake held the quantum resonance key in his palm. He had started the week as a simple mechanic fixing another broken ship. Now he held technology that could advance human civilization by decades, all because he chose kindness over profit. The stars seemed brighter that night as Jake began drafting his report to Earth Command. Sometimes, he reflected, the most important repairs weren't to machines at all, but to the connections between different worlds and peoples. In his simple act of compassion, Jake had unknowingly opened a doorway to humanity's future among the stars.